every corner of the galaxy.
And if you don't have it,
broadcast from an Orange Sidewinder and hosted by a vending machine technician, it's Lave Radio.
Attention. Would you like to reorder Raider Rig? Would you like to do so?
Space can be loaded. Greetings, Commanders, and welcome to episode 101 of Lave Radio, the show that talks about the universe of Elite and the fantastic community that surrounds it. I'm your host, second technician, Fozza Forrester, and joining me in the Orange Sidewinder tonight, we have...
I'm Ben Moss Woodward, otherwise known as Commander Adel of Ice.
I'm Colin Ford, otherwise known as Commander Phoenix to Fire.
And I'm Grant Wilcott, otherwise known as the Pain in the Bum, Commander Psycho Cow.
Nice. Colin, I loved the pause there before you announced who you were, as if you weren't entirely sure. You alright, mate?
To be honest, I'm not really sure who I am at the moment. Don't worry. Normal service will be resumed just as I work out what exactly is normal anyway.
Okay, that sounds fair enough. Well, I mean, to be fair, we're all slightly multitasking this evening. We are trying to do a community goal at the same time as podcasting, and it's just taken me, probably about 5 minutes to figure out which way around I'm supposed to be landing on this pad at Chalker's Landing. So, if you wish, you can join us live. We are doing a complete debacle of landing at Chalker's Landing. We're doing the community goal, collecting crystals from Chalker's Landing in the Cherbones system and taking them off to Lave Station to help us rebuild galactic relay in the Dizzo system. If you want to, you can also join us in the IRC chat channel. That's at Lave Radio and QuakeNet, which you can access easily through the Lave Radio page, laveradio.com/live. And you can also find us in the Twitch channel. That's twitch.tv/Lave Radio. Okay, we're going to have a slightly different introduction section this week because it is obviously the 101 episode 101, and obviously we know about Room 101. So this week we're going to find out what the hosts would really like to put in Room 101, starting with Mr. Wilcott.
Yeah, well, this is something that'll be familiar to a lot of people. That speeding limit that you have as you're exiting the station, you know, that wonderful speeding limit that they introduced, and it was great because it stopped the big T9, well, it stopped a lot of fun. It stopped T9 squishing Sidewinders into the toast track. However, it's led to something that I would love to see deleted from the game, and in fact, I think, you know, there's no argument at all, Foz. I think everybody will agree with me. This is a guaranteed shoe-in for 101, absolutely definite, and that is when you're rammed by a system authority vehicle that's scanning you for crimes, and they hit you, and then they fine you for it. It's ridiculous. It's the worst kind of police abuse of power I have ever seen, and deserves to be deleted from the game and then shoved up some developer's backside just because it's their fault.
Okay, so the speeding limit in the docking bay, and also police misusing the new speed limit to get you to have additional fines. Is that what we're saying?
Not the speed limit. The speed limit is fine. Otherwise, I'll go back to my old habits of squishing NPCs in the side of the docking slot, which is, although it's fun, I agree that that's a sensible thing to have in-game. But no, the cops being able to fine me when they ram into me, that's what should be stopped.
Okay.
I think that it's a perfectly fine mechanic. I think that the cops are actually working on a bonus scheme. The more fines they get, the better they get paid.
So you're saying that they're kind of like parking meter wardens?
But with bigger guns.
That's to suggest that a parking meter warden jumps in your car, reverses it onto the double yellow lines, and then tickets you for being on the double yellow lines. That's what was happening here. They're ramming you and fining you. They don't even pay you for the damage that they cause. No. And I fly with no shields, so it's upsetting.
Have you not seen any parking wardens in minis? They bounce them onto the double yellow lines.
Okay, so we'll take overzealous police enforcement officers. Colin, what have you got for us?
Well, I've got a little bit of a bugbear that I've had since Alpha, really. You know when you're in a nav beacon and you spot a wanted ship, so you go after it, and you hit its cargo hatch, and out comes tons and tons of lovely booty that you'd like to be able to scoop. You can't, because it is marked as illegal salvage, even though the person who was doing the dropping the cargo is wanted. And that, to me, just feels wrong. If he is wanted, that means his cargo should be up for grabs after the ship is gone. It's not, well, it's kind of bounty hunting piracy, if you see what I mean. But I still feel that, hang on, you've broken the law, your cargo, when it ejects, that should be legal salvage.
Okay, no, I think it's a fair point. Ben, what's your final point to maybe go in Room 101?
Well, see, I think all these things, they're all stuff that Frontier know about. You know, for Room 101, we really need to take something which Frontier maybe acknowledge, maybe it's by design, and it's not something they say, you know, we're going to fix that, whatever. So what I want to put in Room 101 are the complete and utter dicks of the player base.
Okay, you want to explain that a little bit further?
I would very happily explain that a little bit further. I think, you know, I really dislike the selfish players, the ones who only think about themselves. They don't care what anyone else is wanting to do, so long as they have fun. You know, I accept they're allowed to have fun, but don't do it on my time.
Okay, so you're basically talking about player-based griefing.
Basically.
That does sound a little bit like, you know, your typical, you know, internet grandad moaning about the slippers being a bit too cold there.
You can do it on your time, that's fair enough.
Oh dear, he's been griefed in the last 48 hours, hasn't he?
I've not. I told Foster about this over a week ago. Well, maybe
It's
not.
lasted a week. He's been building for a week, this one.
Oh dear. Okay, so let's just sort of back up here. So Grant, we've got system authority ships ramming you at stations and fining you for it. Colin, we've got wanted ships dropping cargo that you can't scoop because it's marked as illegal. And Ben, you've got people who only care about themselves and don't give a monkeys about your playstyle or about the fact that their playstyle can adversely affect your game. Basically, player killing dicks, otherwise known as griefing. So we've got griefing, we've got unscoopable cargo, and we've got overzealous system authority ships.
Actually, griefers have got their own room already.
Really?
Yeah, the ghosting instance, you know? The shame instance that they all go to.
But do they, though? I mean, this is a larger topic and one that keeps on getting raised, but have we actually seen any evidence of that sort of, that phantom zone that all these griefers are supposed to be going to?
The shadow ban.
The shadow ban.
It sounds like a new DC series, doesn't it?
I quite like it being the phantom zone.
Baddies.
Okay, well, I'm going to get a mull over it here. I think I'm going to go for... Grant, you know, the system authority ships, it's a good point, you know, but I do think it adds an extra element of game into the Elite Dangerous universe of seeing that ship coming towards you and knowing full well you've got to jam your ship into reverse and move away from it. The same way that you have to do with parking attendants, you know, reversing down the street so they can't put that ticket on your windscreen, so therefore can't find you. So I think that's a little bit of fun that Frontier are having with you, so I'm going to say no to the system authority ships going into Room 101.
Yeah.
And Ben, I'm afraid griefing has literally been like a broken record on this show and on the forums and everything over the last month or so, and I'm so sick of hearing about it. I can't possibly put it into Room 101, I'm afraid. So that means that Room 101 is going to be Colin and the wanted ships dropping cargo you can't scoop, because I'm absolutely with you on that. It's never made any sense whatsoever that, if a pirate is trying to kill you and you end up sort of being the victor and vanquishing your foe, then you get fined for stealing his cargo.
This is clearly a fix. It's clearly your Scottish slant, hey? Just, side with the Scotsman.
Yeah, because that's obviously the case, because I'm not outnumbered on this podcast at all this week. But I mean, it makes perfect sense. What even if you couldn't just sort of go and hand in that cargo and maybe not get the same amount of value for it, maybe get half the value, and say, look, this guy attacked me, he's got some stolen cargo, here I am returning it, give me my, finder's reward or anything. But no, what do? They slap a massive, great big fine on you. So I think that's, for more than anything else, for the annoyance factor of that and the fact it just doesn't make any goddamn sense, that one, wanted ships dropping cargo you can't scoop, goes into Room 101 this week.
Yay!
Excellent. And with that, what we'll do is we will go to a quick advert, and then we're going to sort out our ships in the open arena and try and get some crystals on board. And then we come back, we'll talk a little bit about the latest development news.
I was overseeing the delivery of some slaves to the starports in Exios, and a cleaning robot had just washed the floor, but not left a warning sign. I had to run after a slave that was escaping, and I slipped and fractured my wrist. I was delayed for 10 whole minutes while the Medicomp repaired the damage. My time is billable. Can I get compensation?
Yes, you can.
I was on a regular trading run back to Sol, and it was my job to repaint the outside of the ship. I was given the wrong kind of EVA clamps. Nothing bad actually happened, but it did give me a fright. Can I get compensation?
Yes, you can.
I was checking some robots through customs when I distinctly heard an official call the robots clanks. I was deeply offended, even though I'm not a robot myself. That's their word. You're not allowed to use it. Can I claim for moral outrage?
Yes, you can. At Cowell and McGrath, we are now taking any kind of legal action. No case too small, no justification too frivolous. If you've been lightly inconvenienced, embarrassed, or in any way put out, then someone should be made to give you money. Don't be a stupid clank.
Excuse me?
Cowell and McGrath, taking on any case, playing the percentages.
Okay, so just quickly picking up through newsletter.
I think you're going to get drink fodder.
I'm going to get a drink. I'm just going to queue it all up for you. But yeah, so just going quickly through newsletter 114, just a few of the hot topics that we picked out. In fact, I'm going to let Ben pick out the hot topics for you, whilst I go and quickly grab a drink.
You go get that drink. I was all ready to come right in, but no. Right, well, anyway, with newsletter 114, we had a bunch of things, as Evan mentioned, but the first up was they've reintroduced the peak of the week, not the pick of the week, with the Galaxy Map bookmarks. So basically, when we eventually get 2.1, and we'll be covering the eventually later, but when we eventually get it, we're going to be getting some bookmarks in there which allow us to go off and say, this is where I managed to get my blood crystals from, and it's an awesome thing, and we can plot routes to it, and we can... It looks fairly basic, to be honest. It looks about what you'd expect from a bookmark. You can rename it, you can jump to it, and it's a bookmark. That sounds about what we want, really, isn't it? Does anyone else?
Right. It'll save on Sidewinders.
It'll save on Sidewinders. That's always a good thing. But could this be a decrease in the sale of the trusty Sidewinder?
Well, it's obviously going to.
It affects sales, isn't it? You know what? It's still not quite what we'd love to see, is it? It's just, bookmarks are really, really handy, and it's nice to sort of stick a big pin in the map and say, right, that's where I found that awesome thing on that planet there. So it's really good to be able to do that. However, would we not still prefer to have a commander's log that you could go to and it says where you were and what you did there, and then you just click on the link and it takes you back to that in the star map and so on and so forth? Would that not be the sort of next progression for this, which would be what we really want? We really want that kind of, here's my commander's story, here's where I crashed, you know? It's all documented in that beautiful little commander's log.
Well, yeah, we don't like that, but they've just put bookmarks in. And as far as I'm concerned, that's a small step in the right direction. Yeah, we don't like that, but I think they're, as we shall come on to at a later point, I think they're a bit busy with other things.
To be honest, we've already got that in some respects with the Elite Dangerous Star Map, Grant, which is on www.edsm.net. You know, you can go off and link that, and you know, I can go onto my account and I can see that I've had over 3,216 logs in the past few weeks, actually.
Your backside must hurt.
Not from flying.
Oh dear.
Sorry, this isn't Dockers, is it?
No, we're
it's coming soon. We can see all these things. Yeah, we can see all these things already. Is there a market for something? Should Frontier put in other tools to the job that's already taking place? Or have they got, as Colin said, have they got enough other things to be getting on with?
Well, yeah, it'd be nice, though, to have that kind of thing in-game. We all know that, because the last thing that you want, really, is to go to an external tool when you're inside the game. I hate to mention the I word here, but it would be nice to have these kind of things at your fingertips in the HUD.
You didn't mention
I'm going to have to do the loop of the I word.
You didn't mention the I word. You were going to. Well, okay, maybe you were alluding to the I word.
Of course, I was alluding to the I word. We know that when we mention the I word, I'm sure a developer dies.
Well, you know, I think bookmarks are important, and one of the things that would be very, very handy, because, you know, for the quick point of view, if you're doing a missions run or something, to go, well, actually, that was a really good trade route, I'm going to stick a big bookmark in it just now with a wee note next to it so that I know that bookmark's about. But, you know, after 6 months, when you've got 750 bookmarks, they become redundant. But one of the important things I hope they can include is the ability to share that bookmark with somebody in-game. You know, whether or not whether or not you wing up with that commander, and then in the galactic map, when you go to the bookmark, you've got an option to share to wing, and it'll appear on theirs as a sort of purple bookmark that they can then accept or not. That would be a very handy feature in order to pass locations to people.
No, I totally agree there. I mean, I'd love to see that. I'd love to be able to share things. Anyway, moving on from the Galaxy bookmarks that we're getting. We know that 2.1's been delayed, but we're going to be covering that a little bit later on. Next, that caught my eye was a bit of a controversial thing, in that there's the how the heck do we pronounce this? EUCL3D, Euclid maybe, doing full color 3D printed sandstone models of some of the Elite Dangerous ships, for prices starting from $29.99, and Frontier are advertising that. Now, I'm not fully convinced about this, because ain't Frontier meant to be doing some kind of printed ship as one of the backer rewards?
Yeah, I do believe they are, and I do believe they still haven't sent them out yet. I don't know what the latest is on that, but certainly when I was speaking to some people in the chat room and stuff, when this popped up in the newsletter, there was a few people that were still waiting for their 3D models, which hadn't received them, and it's just like, yeah, it's a little bit cheeky, Frontier, to be advertising these and then and then not actually fulfilling your Kickstarter pledges. I mean, is this company good enough to sort of honour those Kickstarter pledges? Because from memory, those Kickstarter 3D models were bloody gorgeous, but were they pewter, or they were premium 3D models, were they not?
They were, but they were also almost 10 times the price at this site. So showing them that, I think if you were waiting for your backers reward and you receive it and then you find it on a website for $29.99, you would be very disgruntled. But if they paint it in gold and smear it in the sweat of Braben, I think possibly you might just alleviate that.
Okay, so I mean, just looking through the chat channel, I know that Stephen Usher's on there, and he's got one of these new models, not one of the $29.99 ones, but one of the ones from the Kickstarter, and he says that his is currently in the process of being painted, apparently. So, by all accounts, they are going through, they are being done. So, it's only what, three years late, according to Stephen. They were waiting for a good painter. And we all know finding a good decorator, a good painter and decorator can always take about 3 years. So maybe that's not as unbelievable as we first thought.
Well, we've all seen Colin's attempts.
Pardon?
I think that was a bit of a low blow, that one, Ben.
Sorry.
Okay, so talking about the Kickstarter rewards and having to pay, I don't know, $29.99 for something that obviously the Kickstarter reward back has paid a lot more. Obviously, they're different models, but looking at some of the other news that's come out this week, and we're jumping around a little bit here, but some of the other news that came out this week was the announcement that they are looking for information, or they're looking for feedback from the community about the idea of actually getting the opportunity for naming NPCs, renaming some planets, and even having some named surface markers in the next iteration. These surface markers can maybe commemorate a special person, thing, or event. It's something that people have been asking for a long time, according to Frontier, and they're now considering offering these sort of items in the Frontier store. And again, these also can include things like star system naming, creation of a new surface starport, and they're basically asking the community and gauging the people's interest in this particular topic. Now, before I weigh in with my thoughts, let's go around. Ben, is this something you think is a good idea, another sort of a revenue stream going into the game?
I've got no issues with them doing it, per se, but it's not something I'm particularly interested in. There has to be a vetting procedure, and there has to be a better vetting procedure than we've seen for commanders' names like Commander Biggest Dickus and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Grant, I'm not going to go to Grant, I'm going to go to Colin. Colin, what's your thoughts?
Oh, well, in this case, yeah, I would like to have a couple of markers in there, or pay for a station name or a planet. Although I must admit, I did post up on a link about the No Man's Sky problem.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which was effectively, if anybody's seen the Weebles take on No Man's Sky, it's effectively because they have so many objects that are player named that basically you'll have quite a lot of rude, juvenile 12-year-old names just spewed all over the galaxy map. And with Ben, I do feel that the vetting has to be quite good on this one. I mean, it's bad enough we've got Winard's Hole. God knows what else will be out there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and just out of interest, let's say for a solar system and a planet, what would be your price point on that, Colin?
Oh, well, today I wouldn't want to name a solar system. Maybe a planet, maybe a city. You know what? You're I don't know, $5?
A fiver for a whole planet. Okay. Talking like a
They have plenty of planets out there to sell, haven't they?
Well, that's an
it's
interesting
not exactly
point.
as if they've got a shortage of them.
Now you say this. Now, Ben, what's your price point?
I actually think it should be go the other way. If you're going to do it, it should be something that should be rare and should be unique. So I'm actually thinking something like £100 or something like that.
£100. £100 for a planet or £100 for a solar system?
£100 for a planet.
Okay. Now, the reason I've left Grant till last is, if memory serves, Grant, did you or did you not actually end up paying for one of the higher tiers in the Kickstarter? Did you not get a solar system and a planet?
I didn't get a solar system because they were way out the price. And I was looking at things like I quite fancied having a sort of named planet. I do have a planet. I do have a station, and that was one of the higher tiers. But it was more the fact I was trying to get a ticket to the launch party that was more of the key point, which of course was a bit of a false economy because they then ended up selling them at 50 quid. That wasn't quite as exclusive as it was led to believe at the beginning, nor anywhere near as difficult to get tickets because I ended up with 5. But it was an awesome event, and it was just one of those things where, you know, things change and you have to take it as being genuine at the time. And I think Ben's probably right. About £100 is not too bad for a planet name. For a system, it should be a little bit more. If you judge by the current tiers going in for the Planet Coaster, where you can get your own person in-game as a staff member, for £100, and you can get a group in. It's just a random group of people will then be sort of named after your group, so that's £50. So in that kind of price model, I reckon a planet, surface, sort of city or town or something along those lines, 50 quid would be good, you know. Then for a planet, 100, and then for a system, 150 would be probably still a little bit lower than it would have been in the Kickstarter. But I think that's kind of I would be tempted by that again to try and, you know, to get my own system or something. But I think it is dangerous. Although the procedural generated cock rings that you've got everywhere, I don't think that too much vetting's required. Apart from, you know, obviously my new fuzz it is a twat system.
I visit it all the time, Grant. Okay, but you wouldn't have any hard feelings, obviously, having like the launch party. You had shelled out all that money, thinking it was going to be something quite unique, and then a couple of years down the line, something comes out for a lot less money. You're not feeling, you know, you're not begrudging of that.
Well, it's ridiculous to keep it. I mean, and okay, maybe some people would feel a bit aggrieved as long as the price point is reasonable, because now we kind of see what it means, and it's nice to see your names, and why should we be the only people that get away or with that? You know, it's a nice thing to be able to do. It's a great way to support the game. And I think it would be crazy not to do it at all and to allow it. And as I say, as long as that price level is around about, you know, the 50, 100 and 150, you'll probably find that people who bought it in the past will come back in and they've had time to play the game, they've had ideas, they've been members of groups, you know, so, you know, you can get a lot of player groups that can go and they can actually buy their own system and give it a name that's meaningful to them. So I think it's time. I think it's going to have to be policed, and the price point's got to be reasonable. So, you know, maybe have small things, like maybe you can name a bit of space dust, something.
Okay, Ben?
For those people on budgets.
Just wondering, I mean, we know that we were talking about putting things to families and so on, for deceased family members and things like that. I'm wondering, what about, should some of that money maybe go to charity or something like that? So that, yeah, sure, you may be giving £100, but out of that £100, £50 is going to a charity.
Yeah, and this is one of the things that, I mean, it's a bit of a threadnought, but I did have a bit of a wade through this topic on the forums, and that is certainly one of the pieces that came up, is that it would be quite nice if, say, you know, a certain percentage went to Frontier, a certain percentage went to a charity, especially for the memorial side of things. I don't think that's a bad idea. Even if it went to special effects, if it went to the standard charity for Frontier, I think that would be a really nice way of doing it. Another idea that came up quite a bit on the forums is, you know, rather than letting people that have, you know, lots and lots and lots of money sort of flood the galaxy, then maybe have some sort of auction where you sort of pay the same amounts and your hat goes in the ring. No, yeah, your hat goes in the ring, or your name goes in the hat, and basically people are chosen. You get 10 planets or 10 systems, and if your name comes out of the hat, then you pay the right for that particular naming. I thought that was quite a good idea as well, because they have said it each iteration, because these can only be added into the game at every sort of big expansion. So like 2.1 with Engineers, you'd get a whole host of new planets and new namings going into the particular game at that point. So it has to be limited per update. I don't know about you guys. I don't know how much time it actually spends, how much time it takes for these guys to create these in-game assets. But maybe we don't want unless they're going to hire on extra people, which again we'll come on to later, but unless they're going to hire on an extra person for just sort of building in-game assets for money, which I mean, if it's a lucrative revenue stream, then why not? Then yeah, as long as it's not going to take people away from sort of developing the main game, then I can't see it being that bad an idea. Okay, anything more to add on that particular topic before we move on? No, I will just say at this point that Zach has followed that up and said that, allow me to clarify, everyone is very conscious about making sure that the naming of things are done in a way that does not ruin existing names. And what I mean to say is that we want your feedback here to make sure that we consider everything. So even though it might seem obvious, let us know your thoughts on what you would like or what you wouldn't like as part of this process. So again, it's nice that they're sort of including the community on this before they make any decisions. So if you haven't commented on that forum thread and you have got something to say, then make sure you get across there and leave your feedback. Okay, Grant, where are we sitting on the convoy, sir?
Right, well, we have a number of commanders. I've just winged up with a Hot Sporran, Vlinkith, and Jerusalem Man. So we're in a wing, and we are ready to sort of head off. Our first location, that if you are playing along, if you're on the Xbox, the first location we are planning to head to from Chalker Landing, make sure you've got crystals, is G space 59-7. It is 11.1 light years from Chalker Landing, and everybody is kind of flying around here. I think Thane is still being loaded. I'll just give a wee quick check to see and make sure he's ready to jump.
Do you know what? I'm giving up on loading because my collectors all failed, and then when I tried to collect up manually, all the cargo did is bounce off my hull. For some reason, I can't. For some reason, I can't actually pick up cargo. I don't know why.
Are you in a Python?
No, I'm in an ASP.
Okay, I'm not sure about ASPs for loading, but
I'm getting all the cargo dead centre, and it's just bouncing off and not going in. So, giving up. I will travel with my 28 tons.
It could be an instancing issue. I'll just check.
Yeah, possibly.
If everyone is ready to go.
I've been having the same issue as well, Grant.
Okay, so
probably it's not just Jarvis.
Right, well, if everyone is ready then, we're heading to G59-7, and if we can make sure that you are not in reverse, that's a special message going out there to Commander Flossie, make sure you are not in reverse. She had terrible problems in the last one when we all jumped out and she couldn't jump. So, full throttle, make sure you're not mass locked, and when you're ready we can commence jumping. I'm just looking to see if the scanner of everyone is moving. Everyone looks to be good. Right, commencing jump in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So frame shifts are charging. It's something nice when you look at it and you see that map and you see all those contacts shooting out. It's so impressive. It must have been amazing on that the Deep World expedition or Distant World expedition when they had 101 people in an instance. That must have looked spectacular. Excellent, right, we're just about to arrive, and then I can give you the next location or the next destination that we're going to head to. Right, a wee quick honk. Our next destination is a system called Sharu Sector FW-W space C1-19, and I've just crashed into the star.
You are joking.
It happened. The Cobra's too fast. It really is such a wee fast ship. It's so much
Have
joy.
you ever heard of switching the throttle to 0 in hyperspace?
Yeah, that's for, sensible people. So I'll just repeat that to the next section is...
Wow, lots of people here.
Sharu Sector... Well, I don't know, because I'm now no longer in that instance. Sharu Sector FW-W C1-19. Now this might be a push for some people because this is 13 light years. If it is a push, we'll stick around there, and I think we'll do another section and then we'll do the next jump. So do you want to do 3 jumps and then carry on, Fuzz?
Yeah, absolutely. Remind me where we're going to next.
Sharu Sector SHARRU Sector FW-W and the space C1-19.
Right, okay, ready to go.
Okay, excellent. Alright, on my mark, we are going to throttle up now that my frameshift drive is back online, and we're going to make the jump in 3, 2, 1, engage.
Warning, I'm being interdicted.
Engage. Leave him behind, everyone. Run! Run! Save yourselves!
Leave the weak at the back of the herd.
It keeps those animals busy and we can get away.
So, just remind me, the whole big exploration mission that's just been going on, how did they manage to get so many people in one instance? I thought there was a limit to how many people you could have in an instance.
It's the lack of in-game assets when you're out there and you've got a planet and ships. So it's one of those things where it's just a case of they were there alone and the game just worked really, really well for them. So rather than having to keep track of all the NPCs, it doesn't have to do that. So it gave all those assets then go to the commander. So the peer-to-peer worked better out there. So it allowed them to have bigger and bigger instances of players, just because there was less in-game assets to being tracked. So it does suggest that, as technology improves and as internet speeds get better, we might see the instancing in Elite Dangerous improve over the next 10 years, which would be epic.
No, that'd be absolutely great. And I dare say, if we wanted to have massive fleet battles, then again, maybe we have to pick a place far out in space to hold them.
Yep. Our next destination is unfortunately named. Unfortunate name for a system if your name is Ash. Next system is Ash Tart. It's 8.13 light years away, so that's Ash Tart. So if you want to target Ash Tart, it looks like we've lost Hot Sporin. Hot Sporin is still back. He's not even left the first system. Dear Hot Sporin, just a little message for you. Are you familiar with the concept of a convoy? Leave together.
You see, maybe that poor guy's got a flat
wing and they all
battery.
jumped in on me.
Yeah, so maybe that guy's got a flat battery and he's been screaming at us to sort of stop and go back and help him and give him a jump start or give him a push, and we've just left him in the void.
Well, if you want to catch up with us, we're heading to Ash Tart next, and I think we'll stop there for a bit while we do another section in the show, and then we'll carry on and do another 3 jumps, and then in 4 sections we should be there.
Cool, okay.
So we'll just do this last jump then, which is to Ash Tart. So if everybody is ready, lined up, and facing poor Hot Sporin, I've got a feeling he's just going to go to Lave and leave us all behind in his wake. Tell the pirates where we are. Our next jump is to Ash Tart, so if you want to throttle up and get ready to jump, and we'll make this jump in 3, 2, 1, engage.
Shall we all rendezvous at the nav? Oh no, there's no nav point, is there?
I don't know what's in Ash Tart, in fact. I think I've got, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 commanders on my scanner. And a beautiful
That's pretty
straight
good
line.
going.
It's not bad going at all.
You want all rendezvous at the Commander Daddy Baddie Naughty Person?
Excuse me?
Yes, there's a lot of implication about the fact we've just jumped into a tart.
Right, so if you just hang around in Ash Tart, scoot from the star if you need some fuel. This is a good point for refueling. Our next destination, next jump, will be to, he said, where is it? It's on my map. It is to, where the heck? LHS space 2541. So that's LHS 2541 is our next jump. We'll do the next section.
Yeah. Sorry, can I just ask how many jumps this run is? Because I've been doing this run without a fuel scoop because I've been doing it pretty direct.
14 jumps.
But I don't have a
14.
fuel scoop,
Oh, jeez.
so I'm either going to need to stop somewhere local or I'm going to need a fuel wrap.
You should be okay because it's the same distance, and in fact it should be more economical than your large jumps, in theory.
Go on, take the risk. You know you want to.
I'm sure it'll be fine. Right, where are we going?
This is fine.
Our next destination is LHS 2541, and we will be jumping after our next section, so we'll go and do some live radioing now.
Okay, so I take it we've covered the new paint jobs for the couriers and the Type 6s.
Nope, not yet.
Nope. Okay, well, let's cover those off.
To.
Yeah, because I think they're absolutely... Well, actually, no, let's put this in perspective. So the Imperial Courier ones, I think, are very, very nice. The Type 6, I think, are absolutely ugly. Absolutely fugly. They look like hockey jerseys, for crying out loud. I mean, they haven't exactly spent a lot of time... Well, maybe somebody has spent a lot of time designing these, but they don't look like they've been given much love. They've just been giving a few strands of paint, horizontal lines of paint, and that's it. Give it that, call it done. And I love the Type 6. I think it's a really cool ship to fly around in, especially when you're just starting out with trading. But I would not be seen dead painting it any of these particular colours. What about you guys?
It looks like a cue ball.
Yes, exactly, as if you're playing pool.
Yeah, I don't have much time for the T6. It was one of these ships that I had to just basically deal with while grinding up towards an ASP, and I didn't enjoy it at all. So I'm just quite happy to let that one by, to be honest.
It's kind of like his sport socks.
Exactly like sports socks.
Yes. Oh, that's unfair to sports socks.
Yes. Okay, well, I know you are a complete tart when it comes to the Imperial line, Colin. So, the Imperial Courier, I know you fly one. Would you paint it in any of those particular styles?
Well, actually, I've only had this Imperial Courier for 4 days, and I've already lost one. Yeah, I do like the look of the Imperial Courier, but to tell you the truth, I still prefer it in its proper Imperial white.
You're a traditionalist.
I don't know, it just looks cooler. How are they putting this in? Because it's like trying to modify perfection.
I don't know, I think the black courier is pretty wicked as well.
Yeah.
Not to be racist or anything.
It's supposed to be being interdicted. Has he suddenly, his attention gone elsewhere?
Ooh, shiny thing!
So much for this brand new... Oh, ow!
No, the broadband is absolutely fine. It's the mute button that I can't seem to operate particularly well.
Hit it with the wrench, Fozzer.
Okay, so looking at the dev updates, have you guys covered off the dev updates with the consequences and rewards?
Not yet.
Okay.
Yeah, you're only gone for a couple of minutes while you got a drink.
And yeah, you didn't manage to cover off all the newsletter. How appalling is that? So
it's called filling time.
So the dev update, the consequences and rewards. So there's going to be some improvements to the background simulation communication. So they state with minor factions, states we're intending to make their effects more noticeable on available missions. So ship traffic and compositions and markets. At the moment, these can be quite subtle. So beefing them up with added drama to make the star system. If that was what was written, that makes no sense to me whatsoever. Does anybody else manage to decode exactly what that means?
Yeah. I'm not going to tell you, though.
Just to tease it out a bit more.
I think, to be honest, a point in reference to this is the current last week, we noticed that the Hutton truckers were getting hammered and we were losing 10% influence a day in our core systems. So no real indicator or ability to sort of pinpoint it down, and no particular commanders in about the game that we could see, so it could be a private group attack or whatever. So all we can do is you look and then try and look at the different news that you get in the station where you can check the bounties issued, so we could see that the crime rate had gone through the roof. So the way to combat that is, of course, to go bounty hunting and to overlap that amount, and what ended up happening is we ended up going into expansion, so we managed to see off this attack. But that's very subtle. If you're not looking, it's very hard to know what's going on or how to tackle it. So it would be welcome to get more of a kind of warning. You know, even if you get a news story telling you, warning, there's a system under attack, or there's been a sharp increase in trading in this system, or sharp increase in bounty hunting in this system, it gives you that kind of head up. And if the missions are then tailor-made to combat it or to help increase it, so the more that you take that system into anarchy, the more anarchic the missions become in the bulletin board in order to help you to keep that going, so it kind of swings with you. That would be quite interesting. And then the current faction that's running the system, their missions swing more against and become more and more extreme. That would be really quite exciting. That would make it a lot more interesting. As I say, I find the background sim game infinitely more interesting than power play, and I think it's almost what power play should be.
Yeah, I mean, the power play one, I think, just needs a bit of love, and I think it'll be one of these things that they revisit and they repolish, and when we get some big faction warfare going on in later expansions, I think the power play stuff will all sort of come into its own, because obviously all the mechanics are there. They just need to be given some sort of some point to them, as it were. So wider range of rewards other than just credits coming from these missions. So treasure locations, various different materials, some hard to find commodities or salvage items, and some particular rewards may be mission only and could tie into story events. Now, did he go into any more detail with that, what that story event could be and what some of these rewards could be could result?
Did he echoes like?
No, am I not surprised? So rewards will be more appropriate to the risk, and rewards will also increase the more a faction likes you. Ooh, and the most important thing out of all of this was the fact that the cockpit is going to get a clock. Now, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Because obviously the amount of time we spend in this game, it's very easy to lose track of time, and that's probably one of the things I like about the game. If I had a clock on the dashboard telling me that it was 2 o'clock in the morning, I probably wouldn't do that extra smuggling run.
Yeah,
completely agree with that.
The game could screw with you and just slowly move it back.
Are you on about time dilation, which they said they're not going to have in this game?
Yeah.
I'm moving faster than the speed of light. That means the clock goes backwards.
Yeah, well, it's one of the things that came out of the David Braben interview last week. Was the thing that he liked about Frontier was the ability to speed up time. So maybe you can do that in a very subtle way with the cockpit clock, just to make him happy. Something else that makes us very happy is the trailer competition has come to an end. The winner was announced for the trailer competition, and it was Commander Not Only Here. I know you guys, there was a bit of chat going on through the week about which one you preferred. I think Jarvis actually preferred the one that came in second in this competition. What about you guys? Do you like the overall winner?
I did. I thought it was very atmospheric and very well put together. And the amount of coordination that Not Only Here and every commander that was involved in that was really good. I especially like the coordinated spaceship launch, which you can tell that everybody told their ships to depart to orbit when they were in their SRVs. I thought that was fantastically well done.
Yeah, the Orca, I always chuckle at. There was a lovely Orca doing the video as well, and I still think that ship it's a lovely ship, but what a pointless ship. But nice that it gets to shine in that particular trailer, though.
It's a very fast ship, though.
Really?
For its size, it's quite fast. I doubt if you'll be able to keep up with it in an ASP.
I did not appreciate it was actually that fast. It certainly doesn't look that fast.
It does. It looks sleek. It just doesn't turn very fast.
So as long as you're going in a straight line, it's one of the fastest ships in the galaxy.
That does seem to be the way with the Imperial vessels, doesn't it?
Okay, well, what we'll do is we'll go to a quick advert break. When we come back, we'll do a quick few jumps with the convoy, and then we'll move on to the main topic of this week's show, which is going to be the furor surrounding Frontier Development's delay of 2.1.
Choose life, choose a ship, choose a career, choose a cargo, choose a fucking big ship. Choose palladium, gold and electrical tin openers. Choose good health, low cholesterol and ship insurance. Choose fixed interest loan repayments. Choose a space station. Choose your friends. Choose leisure wear and matching luggage. Choose a paint job and hire purchase in a range of fucking colours. Choose decals, exploration and wondering where the f*** you are on a Sunday morning. Choose sitting in that chair, running mind-numbing, spirit-crushing trade routes, stuffing f***ing junk food in your mouth. And choose rotting away at the end of it all, pissing your last in the void with no one out there to hear you, bury or do anything as you drift away in cold space. Until some f***er comes along to steal your ship, your cargo and your clothes, leaving your bones floating out in space. Choose your future. Choose life. But why would I want to do a thing like that? I choose not to choose life. I chose something else. And the reasons? There are no reasons. Who needs reasons when you've got onion heads?
We'll do it.
Okay, so the main topic for this week's show is going to be the news about the recent stock exchange news that we've got and the delay surrounding Frontier's development's push out of 2.1 engineers. Before we do that, guys, do we want to just get the convoy moving again?
Absolutely, good call. We are heading next jump to LHS 2541. So if you want to engage your engines, get your engines started. Drivers, start your engines! And jump in 3, 2, 1, engage.
Oh, heck.
Cool, so this is the first time I'm doing this whole sort of jumping in a wing thing, and it's quite odd getting dragged through into Super Cruise.
Have you tried the brave way of if you wing lock or nav lock a player and then just sit next to them and then as they pull away you keep up and then let your systems do it automatically?
I think that's what's just happened, actually.
You've got to be in range of them when they jump and then you're basically you'll follow them in, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's exactly what's just happened. I've just been following Commander Aid Levice straight into the next system, but unfortunately I think he sent us the wrong way because from what I can see on the scanner we're the only 3 people in this system, Ben, so I'm not sure you've been following.
That's not in a system, Fozzer. We got pulled into a local instance where I got attacked and you just kind of swanned around flying and looking at things.
It's very pretty where we are.
That's my fault. I got bored and started looking at USSs. And every time I dropped onto a USS, you guys came with me. So that's life.
Our next location is LP675-19. That's LP675-19, and we'll do that jump in just a few seconds. I'm getting a message from OMG Crafterer, who is apparently very, very, very far away. Not that I can tell. Is there an easy way to tell how far someone is?
No.
Look it up in the galaxy map, maybe?
No. Right. Okay, I can now count the squares. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, including me, 23 people in this instance. That's quite impressive. There's something really special when you see that amount of hollow squares. Oh, thanks for joining in, everyone, actually, by the way. Right, let's accelerate towards LP675-19, and if you're ready and you're safe from the start and ready to engage your frame shifts, we will do that. And, just got to get a question there. LP675-19 is where we are going. And jumping in 3. And oh crap, that's the wrong button. And I'm just trying
to
type
reverses into a star again.
3, 2. Why is that doing that? 1, and jump.
We should probably actually have a quick update in terms of where we're currently sitting with this community goal as well. So last time I checked it, we were at Tier 2, heading towards Tier 3.
We are now past Tier 3.
Excellent.
And on our way to Tier 4, which is really great work. Thank you to everybody. I know there's been a bit of there's been so many community goals to do at the moment, so we really appreciate the efforts of people to get involved in the Lave Radio community goal. It means so much to Fozza.
It does. I was helping load up a Imperial cutter last night. I think it was Commander Massey was trying to get 600 tons of crystals, and he was saying to me, we're really grateful for you helping me load up my ship. And I think, well, considering that you're carrying crystals to help repair the antenna that I broke in game, I think it's actually me that should be thanking you. But yes, nice bit of role playing. So
our next jump location is a stinker. It is call 285 sector LT-V B17-2. That's COL 285 sector LT-V space B17-2. Probably easier just to look for B17-2 on the nav plotter, and it's 9.87 light years.
So when I get a message that says Elias Thane, warning, Elias Thane has been interdicted, am I okay to just ignore that?
Well, unless he's on the call, yes.
Right, okay.
It is a Python, so I could do with a little bit of help.
I've got nothing but pea shooters on here.
Give me a second, Jarvis. I'll try and find you and come and help.
Yeah, the funny thing about that is, I could come and die in front of you if that helped. I've got no weapons and no shields. If it made you feel better.
Right, I've selected your wake. I'm going in and give you a hand.
Stephen Usher's just asking for confirmation. B17-2. Yeah, number 2, that's correct. So we're ready to make this final jump, and then we'll pass back to you, Fozza, and you can... what are we doing next? Oh, we're doing the main topic.
Yeah.
Alright, we're going to make this jump in... I'm just going to put a message out. 3... There's Flossie. Flossie has joined us. Welcome to the convoy, Flossie. And jump. So we're now making this way to the call 285 sector LT-V B17-2.
Well, you guys might be, but my wings seem to be shooting up some pirates.
Well, that's right, we'll wait for you here. You've got time to catch up.
Ah, look at that. The ship explodes just as I take out my pea shooters. Sorry, guys.
Alright, so I've got no reason to come in then.
No, he's gone.
Yeah, thank you, Colin, but we've dealt with him.
Fair enough then.
Oh, and thank you, Baddy Daddy, as well.
We have the next destination is LTT 4772, and we'll do that at the next break of the show.
Excellent. Are we actually going to get to Lave before the end of the show?
Well, we should do. I mean, we've got 8 jumps left, so we could do 4 jumps and after the main topic, and then do 4 jumps at the end, and we'll be there. Or, in fact, Ben's going to take over because I'm going to have to nip out, so if I'm not back in time, Ben's going to take us a slightly different route.
Yeah,
I'll take my route, not Grant's route. Don't have that big a jump range.
No, that's okay. No, I had to deliberately set my ship up so that it would be about 13 light years max, which is not easy in a Cobra. But I shall be back later on, and hopefully good luck and safe travels to the convoy. I'll be back, and hopefully I'll be back just in time to take us on the next 4.
Excellent stuff. Okay, well, let's jump into the main topic of this week's show, and it's the one that's been causing a little bit of furore around the forums. There's been some wonderful, wild speculation around the news that Elite Dangerous 2.1 Engineers is being delayed by about 6 weeks, and we found this out. Actually from a report that was made on the stock exchange. And it's just read it here. It says, as previously announced, Elite Dangerous Horizons was initially released in early access in December 2015. Coming out of early access was originally expected to take place during April 2016, coinciding with the planned launch of Elite Dangerous Horizons' next expansion, The Engineers. However, this, along with associated revenue, will now take place in the first half of the next financial year. Therefore, second half revenues will be substantially below prior expectations. And David Braben has commented on this, saying, over a number of years, Frontier has established an outstanding track record for meeting demanding release schedules and exceptional quality thresholds. So this delay is disappointing. However, it is absolutely critical for the longer-term success of Elite franchise that we maintain our absolute commitment to quality. Despite this temporary setback, the board and I remain very excited both by the potential of the Elite franchise and the progress that Frontier is making as it transitions to a self-publishing house. So, Colin, what's your thoughts on this? Is it purely about just making sure the quality's right? Is there some sort of fancy financial tax dealings going on here, or is it a little bit of both? What's your thoughts?
Well, first of all, the one thing that got me was Horizons will now leave early access. I was under the impression that it wasn't in some kind of early access. I thought it was a proper expansion. Apart from that, well, to me it seems a bit like a bit of both. We do know that the quality, or people have had the quality of Horizons has been called into question. The lack of content and all that kind of stuff. But I think that they know that at this point, the next release that they've got to push out is got to be something that raises the bar. Mm-hmm. And they've also got to take on a lot of the feedback the community's sent back. There is also the other accounting advantage of moving all this revenue back into the next quarter, which will, of course, mean that the tax for 1 year will be lower, and it will also spread the revenue across both years. So there's a bit of both to be taken into consideration.
Okay, so let's take about the question about quality first. I mean, this whole idea that the quality needs to be sort of increased, the quality needs to be pushed up. I mean, is that to suggest that the quality at the moment is poor? And do we think this is about maybe bugs in the game, or do we think it's a lack of content, or just the simple fact that if they pushed out in its current format or its current guise, it would get a bad reaction from the player base? Ben, what do you think?
I think we can all agree that some of the missions that were introduced with 2 are, for want of a better word, less than stellar. So that definitely needs to be improved. But we know that they're doing that, and that's the whole point. That's one of the major points, anyway, of 2.1. Apart from that, I'm not convinced that there's that many bad pieces of quality in there. I mean, it's fairly solid, I thought.
You thought that Horizons was fairly solid?
Yeah, I think Horizons has been fairly solid. I can't really complain.
What about in terms of, obviously the question comes up in terms of just sheer content. So the mechanics are there. The fact that you can, fly down from space straight down onto a planet, interact with all these new bases and stuff. As a mechanic, it works, but it's just a little bit on the sort of the shallow side. Do you think the Frontier have taken that on board and they want to make sure that the next release actually feels like a full-on expansion and does something dramatic to the galaxy? Not that landing on planets isn't dramatic. It's just the question of once you get down there, is there really enough for the players to get their teeth into?
I'd say there's enough, but it's only a first start. But then we knew that all the way from the beginning. It's always been Horizons is a season of content. We're going to be getting more and more things added on. If you wanted a full final product, buy it in December. Yeah, okay, but
it does seem a little bit like that we have all these expansions, but they don't do that much to impact on the actual game as a whole. So take CQC. Yes, it was good. Yes, it honed your skills, but are people playing CQC for months after it was released? Maybe not. Again, landing on planets, people have been doing it. People take some lovely photos. Are they really sort of getting engaged with the whole crafting idea? From what I've seen, not really. And then obviously you've got the power play. Again, the mechanics are there, but is it making a massive difference to the way that people play the game? From what I've heard, again, probably not. So do you think it could just be that they need to, bring something different to the table this time, do something that is actually going to feel like a big gear change in the Elite Dangerous Galaxy?
Well, I'd ask Colin that, because Colin's been doing a whole load of stuff on Planet, haven't you, Colin?
Well, I have been doing missions on the planets. I'm discovering nice little points of interest, mostly stuff like mining fields and wreckage and things like that. I do think they do need to expand that content. The pointers, I mean, David Braben said that one of the failures that they consider is that there is content in there, except they haven't been that good at actually pointing to where it is.
Yeah.
For instance, the barnacles were only discovered after some seriously heavy hints were dropped. And it was great and the excitement in the community when that actually happened was palpable. Now, if there are other things out there that have been hidden, the clues have been so subtle that a lot of people have missed them. I think half the time clues have to be as subtle as a brick for some people in this community, myself included. But yeah, I do think that the next one that comes along has to be something that will make people think, oh, Horizons is worth it.
Yeah, okay.
The impression is that at the moment they all think it's sort of, okay, landing on planets, good. What else is there to do? Okay,
so it's all more about sort of signposting. I think you're doing. I think you might be doing either Frontier too much credit or the player base a bit of a disservice when you say that the clues are so subtle. I mean, if you take the original Alien stuff that went on with space with all the beacons and stuff, it wasn't that they were subtle. It wasn't as if people weren't trying to decode the messages for the alien beacons in space. There's a lot of people working on that. Canon worked on that for a long, long time before they actually had a breakthrough. I mean, that was a signpost. I mean, that was a signpost that was so bloody difficult to read that people got so bored with it that most of them left before, I think, before Frontier actually had to really drop a very, very unsubtle hint in order to how to crack it. So, yeah, with this one, I do think it needs to be something a little bit more signposted, a little bit more to lead the player a little bit by the hand and get them engaged with with what's going on with the whole background simulation and the various factions.
Well, one of the things that I'm a little concerned about is the fact that they're not going to tell you where the engineers are. You've got to actually find them, and my concern on that one is, if it's going to be like the Barnacle Hunt, it'll probably take ages for these guys to be discovered. They'll be absolutely swamped when they are discovered, but
Agreed. Well, Jarvis, since we're having a break in our convoy, you can chip in on this. And what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I was just going to chip in on that point about the alien encounters and the barnacles and stuff. I mean, I think the one of the significant things is the difference between signposting stuff that kind of a small number of users will really get behind and really explore. I mean, it's a little bit like when Uplink came out and there were all these hidden things to discover, kind of encrypted files on the disks and all that sort of stuff. And actually a small proportion of the community did get together and work it out. But that's not something for the majority of players to find. And I think when they're talking about, when we talk about content needing signposting, we're talking about signposting for stuff that 90% of the player base want to get involved in. I mean, I maintain I still don't, other than if you've picked it up for a mission, I still don't understand the benefit of assaulting ground bases. I mean, it's a laugh, but I still don't understand why you do it, and I don't understand what impact it has on the game. I've just about figured out what you do when you scan those beacons at outposts, but again, it's just I don't think it's obvious. And I think when you are using things like the map and you're looking at planets and you're looking at outposts on planets and it says things like, well, there's no commodity market here or there's no landing pads here, you sort of end up thinking, I don't understand why you're in the game. I found a thing the other day. It was really interesting. There was because I was flying around and I saw something on the ground that looked really interesting. So I parked up by it, and there were all these sentries hovering around. There were all these turrets surrounding it, and there was a field of what looked like MB4 mining machines. I don't know. I don't understand why it's there. I don't know what it was. I don't know. I couldn't find any way of interacting with it other than to look at it and think, "Oh, that's really interesting. They're mining." And
but
now
you
what?
you see. Now, if you actually attack those mining machines, they explode, and inside those mining machines are very rare minerals that you can use for your synthesis.
Now,
How
you see,
would you know?
when I've previously said with the whole barnacles thing that people just instinctively shoot at barnacles because the gun is the only tool that this game has given you to interact with the environment, people disagreed with me. They said, no, that's not true. Some people aren't shooting. So you're just telling me that there's something I encountered in-game. I had no idea what it was for, but if I just opened up my cannons on it, I'd have discovered something.
Yes.
Well, there you go. Really? I'll say it again. When the only tool you have is a hammer, every problem starts to look like a nail.
Oh dear. Do you remember where that mining field is, Jarvis? Can you go back and have a conversation with them with your laser gun?
Yeah, no, I don't remember. To be honest, I was looking for something else. I'd taken a mission to find something scattered on the surface, so I was actually looking for a crash site with cargo on it, which I'm not sure I ever found before the timer ran out. Because again, I didn't understand how the points of interest work, and I actually had to go onto Google and search for some instructions, because I thought you had to hover about the 2 kilometre from the ground mark to spot points of interest, and actually it's much easier to spot them from much higher up than 2 kilometres, more like 4 or 5. Once you then start heading into them, you need to keep around the 2 kilometre mark in order to kind of keep them on scope. But that's not something I understood. So again, more information that you had to search for outside the game in order to understand. And those things aren't in here. I mean, if you look at a game, other really complicated games, say, for the sake of argument, like the Final Fantasy series. Final Fantasy series has really, in the early days, really complicated signposts about what kinds of creatures drop what kinds of, special and rare items. But when you talk to NPCs in the world, they give you hints about what kind of creatures you have to kill to get items. So that information is there in game. I mean, the standard thing in RPGs is talk to every NPC, because that's where the information is. And I think that Elite needs something like that. It needs the ability to kind of talk to, I mean, all these commanders who appear and send you like direct messages like, I've got something really useful to tell you, why don't you drop down and talk to me? Wouldn't it be great if they said to you, hey, there's this mining field that you can find on this planet, why don't you go and shoot it up and see what minerals they have? That's exactly the sort of thing they could do in game. And then someone might hear that and think, I'm going to go and look on planets for any unattended mining areas. And, that's the sort of thing you could do. I mean, that's a slightly inelegant way of doing it, but I'm just saying those are the kinds of tools other games have employed in order to avoid this problem.
And you say it's inelegant, but at the moment it's a better solution than having no solution, which is what we've currently got in game.
Well, yeah, there is that. But anyway, in the words of Clark's, I'm not even supposed to be here today.
Cheers, Jarvis. Okay, well, let's move on to the other side of this, the flip side of this coin about the delay to 2.1 and this stock exchange news. And some people have been casting doubts and saying, well, maybe this is an indication that actually Frontier developments are losing money. The game's not as successful as they thought it was going to be. And Frontier developments are basically really struggling. Ben, what's your thoughts on that idea?
I think that's complete and utter tosh, to be honest. If Frontier development was struggling, they wouldn't be hiring people left, right and centre. They wouldn't be asking the unfortunate developers of Lionhead Studios saying, come work for us, we're hiring.
Yeah, absolutely, and we saw that on Twitter today. Actually, that I think the message has gone out around Frontier that get the message out to the Lionhead guys that if they're looking for a job, then Frontier Developments are definitely having a very big recruitment drive, and it would be fantastic for Elite Dangerous if we could get some of the talent from the Lionhead studios over to work on the Elite Dangerous Galaxy. It would be fantastic. But yeah, I think that is probably a fair assumption that normally if you're a company that is struggling financially, it's not normally the time where you start looking at taking on extra headcount. And so, yeah, that is probably a good indication as any that things are still looking rosy. Colin, would you agree with that?
Yes, I'd agree with that. At the moment, we saw the sales figures. It's 1.5 million copies sold of Standard Elite Dangerous, and if just going by rough estimates on the Steam counter, it looks like the pickups are about 40% of Horizons. So, that is not a small amount of loose change.
No.
And then on top of that, you have all the add-ons that people are buying, all the skins, the bobbleheads. I hate to think how many David Braben bobbleheads got sold as a special edition. But I think that the revenue from Elite Dangerous is keeping the company buoyant. And as everyone has pointed out, a company in trouble would not be hiring that many people. In fact, it wouldn't be hiring at all. We would see a Liongate type situation.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. Well, obviously, we'll keep our eyes pinned on this particular story and see how it progresses over the next week or so. Obviously, we've heard news that we're going into a bit of a dev blackout with Michael Brooks is stopping the dev diaries because we're getting closer to the launch of Engineers. 6 weeks away now, so it's all going to be sort of handled in the newsletters with peak of the weeks and things like that. So interesting times ahead. It's a little shame that we have to wait a little bit longer than we anticipated for them. Okay, Ben, let's get the wheels of this wagon rolling again. Where are we off to next?
Okay. Oh, Psycho Cow's back. That's probably a lot easier because my jump range is about 30-odd light years. So I'd be having about that. I'd have to be doing everything manually. So if you're back and you can cut things down to 10 light years or so, then that's a lot easier.
Yep, we're going to go to LTT 4772. We should all be queued up, except for Hotsporn, who seems to be going to HR 4758. Where are you going, Hotsporn? Go home, you're drunk. We're heading to LTT 4772, and we're jumping in 3, 2, 1. Go for it! Jump!
I'm waiting for you here.
All right, you already prematurely jumped, did you?
Yeah, that's me. Shot my bolt already.
Commander Hotsporn is saying, "Ram it, you cheeky git." Oops, I'm not even pointing at this stage. The system we're going to. Everyone else has now left me behind.
Are you trying to fly backwards to the station?
I think so. It's just one of those drifts.
Hello, Mr. Daddy Baddy, you have arrived in system.
Fantastic, it's got all good.
Oh, getting a little hot, a little toasted.
Oh my goodness!
It's
look how many
all
bodies are in this system. It's all quite clustered. It's like the rack in the snooker table.
Just while we do these few jumps, let's throw it open to the Twitch chat room. What topics that we haven't covered would you like us to cover off in the last few minutes of the show as we keep on doing this? Because at the moment we've got nothing in community news and no shout-outs to deal with. So
we could have a little sort of shout-out for a fallen commander who was at LaveCon last year, which was actually a bit of a shock for me, was because I'd all day been noticing the news feed with pictures of him, and I thought, well, one of his friends must have passed away, and then slowly but surely it crept into my brain, and I began to put two and two together and thought, oh no, and that was for, I can't remember what his commander name was now, but Neil Davidson, who, if you were at LaveCon last year, we were playing Werewolf in the evening, and slowly but surely our group grew and we started to take over his table, and so we invited him to play, and I remember it vividly because he has an eye patch, and he was quite shy at that point. And we invited him to the game, and the very first round of Werewolf, he said something, and I instantly called him a liar. Jumped on him, but we had such a good night, so it is a tragic loss. And I know his brother has found all the wonderful thoughts and posts on Facebook actually quite therapeutic for him, and really kind of made it a little bit better, a little bit easier to know that he was so well thought of. And so yeah, that was Commander Neil Davidson. I can't remember what his commander name was, but he was a big elite player. And
Commander Sinclair, according to the Twitch chat.
That's right. Thanks, guys. They're awesome. So yeah, he will be missed at this year's LiveCon, and it's sad. I think your parents, when you're younger, always talk about the fact you get to an age and then all your friends start to disappear. And I'm just kind of hoping I've not reached that, because this year's been a stinker for me. Everyone's just dropping dead.
I know, but when you've got a community the size of the Elite Dangerous community, I mean, we've suddenly got a whole load more friends. Yeah, so the law of averages goes up, unfortunately. That some of them are,
and it is, it's tragic, and it does sort of stick with it. There's been quite a few deaths in the community, which is always sad. But the nice thing is how well people pull together and kind of support the family and put in those wonderful well wishes that they should see. And the other thing that you might want to talk about, because I know that the people are always accusing us of being a bit wishy-washy with the whole PvP group versus thing, but it might deserve its own full show to go through that. But our next destination is Hualarna. That's Hualarna. So if you want to set your targets to that, Hualarna. And that is our next jump. It's a strange one. I've never been to Hualarna, actually.
Oh, getting too close to the sun. Oh dear.
You should be pointing away from the sun at the next station.
I am just desperately grabbing some fuel.
Okay, so if everybody is ready, we'll make this jump.
Jarvis, what is it about you getting interdicted?
I'm not again.
He's just got the sexiest ships.
It's alright, I lost him. I could see him coming because I could see him coming because he was sending me messages in the text thing, and I thought, oh god, another NPC. If we don't jump soon, he's going to get him away.
You got any?
I just think it's a good thing that the Code haven't joined us.
Yeah, see, that's the joy of having so many community goals going on at the same time. Code are obviously busy elsewhere.
Oh, they're enjoying the other one because it's got Palladium. So that's always a nice one to sort of rob people of, because it's far easier to sell. You've got no restrictions in that. Rares are great, but only if you're the right distance away. Yeah,
you see, that's one possible reason. I personally prefer to think of it the fact that the Code appreciate the quality entertainment that Lave Radio puts out and sees no benefit whatsoever in taking down our radio antenna.
Just you wait. They'll be waiting for us at Lave in droves.
That's a very good point. We're still a few jumps off, aren't we, Grant?
Yeah, it does look like I've left everyone behind. I'm just looking at my wing going, why? Velenkith? Come on, hurry up. Hotsparn is currently looking at Algorab. I don't know what's going on with Hotsparn. He's clearly inhaling his fumes from his engine.
Well, Jeremy, who's in here with Commander Thane, Fosra and I, has run all the way off to Leasty already.
Alright, so he's well ahead. Our next jump is to Our next jump is to Beroni, Beronii, or it could be Beron 2. I don't know what it could be. It's 12.8 light years from where we currently are, which is, of course, Hualarna.
Is this the Danger Mouse system?
Si.
Si, Baroni.
Alright, we're going to jump in for you guys.
Really showing our age now.
Yeah.
Oh no, they brought it back, haven't they?
Yeah.
It wasn't great.
Yeah.
Oh.
Shush. Just shush.
Yeah.
Shush, Penfold. Jump! 3, 2, 1, jump! 3, 2, 1, jump to Baroni. See Baroni.
Whilst we're all jumping, there's a couple of people in the chat channel who suggested we talk about the peak of the week with the engineers and the character creation tool. Obviously, this is the guy standing in front of his fertile ant. You guys had a chance to check out this picture? Because looking at it in high detail, one of the things I have just noticed is that he seems to have some sort of augmented circuitry thing going on in his eye. Maybe he zooms in close in his eye.
Now, Foz, this is what I saw on one of the that image is what I saw on one of the monitors when we went to visit Frontier, and you commented later that you'd seen an engineer that looked exactly like your first girlfriend. So I'm curious, is this dude, is this what your first girlfriend looked like?
No, what I was saying to David Braben was the character creation tool looks really ridiculously realistic, to the point where actually on one of the screens there was a female character who looked exactly like my first girlfriend. This man obviously was not it. So yes, I didn't see this guy actually on the computer screens. But did you see the bizarre thing with his eye when you were at Frontier, or have you seen it since?
No, to be honest, I was looking at the outfits more than anything.
Yeah, my LaveCon costume does not look like that at all. Interesting though, it does look like he's got some sort of. He almost looks like he could be a docker, because that looks like the sort of suit that would help you lift some heavy crates. It looks like an augmented strength suit if you look at it.
Awesome.
Interesting. I think I've seen them. Your girlfriend was bald.
Can we just go back to this? No, my girlfriend was female and not this guy.
She could have been bald. I mean, when you said that you'd seen someone that looked exactly like your first girlfriend, I was assuming that your first girlfriend was like Vija from Star Trek: The Motion Picture,
who actually I did have a thing for. For a bald woman, she was very, very hot.
So when you say first girlfriend, are you stretching the definition of? Did she know that she was in this relationship with you?
Oh, Foz, you didn't get a girlfriend and a mannequin mixed up, did you?
Okay, I'm just going to stop now. How about we move on to another topic that doesn't make me feel like such an idiot?
I was just going to add to that, and if it was the Monkey series that you're talking about, that was actually a boy. Well, it was. Yeah, it was just a bit. Yeah, okay. Next jump is to Orescu, which is ORESQU, and it's 8.4 light years. And if you guys are ready and queued up, Orescu, we're going to do that jump, and we're going to do that jump now. In 3, 2, 1, go!
We did have a clarification in Twitch chat actually that it's probably Baroni eye. It's probably those double eyes.
Oh no, let's stick it. It's got to stay as Baroni.
Baroni.
Baron 2. That's what it's, Baron 2, the sequel. I just want to ask you guys, I mean, did you notice in that picture of the engineer, he's got a tattoo, which could be an interesting bit of customization for our characters to have. Microtransactions?
But also, it looks to me like that hangar's in a cave.
Well, yeah, all the engineers are on the surface of the planets. There aren't any in stations or anything like that. They're all like Kurlex. They're all hidden away, and no one knows where they are. Well, the players won't know where they are. There'll be hints. I'm assuming there's going to be hints via Galnet and things like that. But, well, we'll just have to wait and see.
Oh, I love the idea. I mean, it looks a lot more rougher and readier than the current planetary bases we're seeing, though.
I think it's just adding that sense of, once they start adding these graphics and these people, that does add that element of life to the universe. That we don't currently have, because you don't see people in game, and maybe that's a disconnect that makes it feel a bit empty. Maybe if we had pictures and faces, it would kind of suck you in a little bit more. We'll have to wait and see. An extra 6 weeks. Our next destination is Crucis Sector ER-V B2-, and it could be a 0 or it could be a D. I'm not entirely sure.
Was that 8.45 light years?
8.45, yeah. Is that a 0 or a D?
It was a 0.
Pretty sure it's a 0, looking at the naming conventions of the other systems.
B2-0. So Crucius Sector ER-V B2-0. And if you're ready, we'll jump in 3, 2, and 1. Engage frame shifts. Hot Sporin is currently at Lee Z. Or Leslie, I'm not quite sure how that's pronounced. Nexus Reject is asking where I am. Currently heading to Crucius Sector ER-V B2-0.
Oh, and it's unknown, so everyone get your Discovery channels out.
Discovery channels?
Discovery channels, yes.
You like those grass skirts and hanging nipples, don't you?
You know, I got no idea how to even respond to that.
The response to that is yes. Yes, I do.
Oh, our next destination is ARQ, ARQUE, and that is going to take us within 2 jumps of Lave. So we are very close. I don't know, Fozzie, if you want to head to Lave and then start the next section, because we are 3 jumps from it just now.
Yeah, we can do. We can finish it off at Lave.
Okay, no worries. Next we're heading to RQ, ARQUE, and it's 10.3 light years. So if everyone wants to line up with that, get your engines up to full and we'll jump in 3, 2, 1, jump! Oh, Hot Sporin's back with us. And Ben has just put out the Flossie check, which is always important.
Flossie's already 1 system ahead of you. She's in my wing, and we're making sure she's fine.
That's good. I've heard we have an update on Rex Bottoms and the rescue on Thursday's Hutton Radio, and it's it's spectacular. And yeah, I'm not going to spoil anything, but yeah, the Flossie's just amazing. Okay, wow, this is a funky system as well, with a ton of connections and a ton of bodies. Our next destination from here is somewhere I have been. It's a laughing place, Heheng, or Heheng, Heheng, which is 10.8 light years from this system. Which is nice.
Has anyone else spotted the little bug where, let me see if I can get it up on the screen, I can't see it anymore. For some reason, when you're in a wing, when you go to jump, when the third person in your wing jumps, instead of the little symbol, you get a little text thing that says, brackets wing icon 3.
Oh no! I'll watch for that this time round.
Yeah, I'll see if I can see it later. So this is, where are we? Oh, this is ARC.
Yes, we're in RQ, and we're heading to Heheng. Heheng. And we're going to...
Heheng.
3, 2, 1. Starion is struggling. He is struggling in an instance on his own. Hot Sporin frameshift activated. WingCon 3. Yep. You're right. It's almost like they've misspelt the variable. Wing icon 3. It's a capital I. Would you bet that needs to be a lowercase I? It'll be as simple as that. That's what always causes these things. So we're now going to be arriving in Heheng, and our next destination is one that we should all recognise, of course. Next destination is Lave. 8.45 light years. If everyone aims for Lave. Next stop, Lave. Oh no, I've just typed in Lav.
You need a toilet break.
So Starion is just sending messages. I think there is always going to be some instancing issues, and it's a lot of it to do with the P2P architecture and local firewalls, internet connections, and all these kind of peculiarities and routers.
Hot Sporin is saying, bags me the first to the lav. As
right.
does Stephen Usher.
Jerusalem Man's just advising that cubicle 3 may be best to avoid. Right, if you're ready to jump to 3, Lave. It's a Lave. We're going to jump in 3, 2, 1, and engage. And then we'll meet you at the station, everyone. Meet you at the station. Did Chris get interdicted?
No. I was just falling into the star because I was on a second monitor and I didn't realise that I was falling into the star and my controls were not actually responding. So I've got a frame shift malfunction, I've got a cargo scoot malfunction, I've got thruster malfunctions. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to. Yeah, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get there.
Fuzz it down.
Could anybody give me some tow ropes? I need a tow through Super Cruise.
Well, you know what? At least everyone managed to make it without any fuel rats being called live on air this time.
Fuzz is not here yet.
No, I'm cruising. I'm away.
Nope, I'm being interdicted by a Wevelrod Crocs, which is a bizarre name. Oh, hold on! I throttled back, and it said interdiction evaded.
Nice one.
Oh, they just got bored.
They went into the sun.
You know, he saw, obviously my pirate saw Hot Sporn instead.
Oh, loop of shame. Hot
Sporn has dropped out. Let's go and see if I can give him a hand. Although, technically all I'm going to do is drop out and die in front of him.
Well, whilst you do that, Grant, and whilst the rest of us head down towards Lave Station to get docked up, maybe it's a good idea to just go over quickly the current happenings with Elite Meets. How are all the rooms? Is there still space for people to come along if they want to?
It's a great question because we actually have one twin room left for the Friday and the Saturday night, and that's it. If we don't get that booked or taken up in the next couple of days, then we're probably going to cancel that room down and leave it. Then you can contact the hotel if you want to have a query, just because, you know, if we can avoid having to pay for these things, then that's always better. More money goes into the budget for food, and that's more important. I've been interdicted by Commander Jeremy. Curse you pesky pirate, you.
Hang on, Commander Jeremy's Jeremie?
Yes, he's in our wing, Ben.
He's in our wing?
I did see that pop up. I thought he's playing some rooks here.
But yes,
have we got Trojan horse?
Yeah, he's being anti-Scottish now. He's just typed in only jocking. Ooh. Ooh. So yes, the rooms are and I was just today, in fact, testing the Artemis setup, and it is absolutely awesome. I've not got any sort of things. What we're using is these little touchscreen laptops, and they are absolutely great fun. They work really, really well, so it does mean the Artemis is going to be quite interesting.
Right, can I just point out that the first person here was Commander Flossie?
Hey!
Well done, Flossie!
I have a kitten who's decided that as I'm approaching Lave is the best time to walk across my keyboard. No, don't do that. You know, Jason, on my cargo. Get off.
So what are these touchscreen laptops that you've got, and have you got one for each particular station? Yes. Have you also got some lights, some smoke effects? How's it all going?
Well, I mean, we've not had any experience of using the DMX as yet with the lights, although I believe that Commander Stroud will be bringing a controller that will allow us to do so. So we'll play with it and have a go with it on the event, but not at the expense of giving people, oh no, Jeremy's going to shoot me. Right, let's see how my beam lasers handle him. But it's one of these things, we don't know how long it will take to set that side up. Lights we've got as well. Smoke machine as usual in hotels. Nah, no go, they don't like that. The fire brigade get a bit annoyed with them. So we will have an Artemis setup. They are wonderful little Asus T100s, which are the transformable. It's basically a tablet with a keyboard dock on it, but it runs Artemis really, really well.
So my little sort of excursion into the sun has got a repair bill of 70,000 credits. It's just a bit steep on an asp. So I'm docked up at Lave. I'm just about to dump my thing. Let's have a quick look and see how the community goal is going. So we're just past tier 3. We have got 1,313 people have contributed to this particular community goal, and we have got 102,377 tons of crystals collected. So that's fantastic. Thank you very much to everybody that's got involved.
Now, all you've got to do now is go through the one reason that people can come and get involved, because you can grab 20 tons in a Cobra, do it in 6 jumps, and do it once. What would be the reward for dropping 20 tons? That would be the bottom tier.
Give me 2 seconds whilst I sell my crystals, and I'll jump back in and tell you.
Well,
it would
be 300,000 credits, which is more than a Cobra would cost.
So there you go. So even just coming and dropping 20 tons will net you an additional 300,000 credits, which is awesome. Not to be sniffed at. Where's my docking pad?
That's giving me a sense of deja vu and a flashback to the early alphas. Where's my docking pad gone? As it vanished, as the number vanished from sight. Cool. Well, what else would people like to cover off before we close down the show? I take it everybody has docked safely. The convoy has come to a close.
Well, I was 100% when I attempted to dock. I'm now at 46. 40. That was a bit of a rough landing. And make sure before you sell your stock, before you sell Hot Sporran, join and sign up to the community goal on the bulletin board before you do anything.
And Flossie's just said actually that she's just sold her first 20 crystals, and she's actually got into the top 75, which gives you a reward of 400,000 credits.
Which is fantastic, so it's even better. So yeah, it's worth coming out and just doing a quick run, even if, there's one of these things with community goals is sometimes they can be extremely enticing, and even just getting involved at the last minute can net you millions of credits if you're lucky. But, these are the kind of goals that you just got to be lucky. The slave one was a cracker for making a very quick buck. Before when we had to take them to Control or to Central in Akinar. That was amazing. You did a couple of runs in that and you were in for 25 million credits. It was spectacular. But for small community goals like this one, where it's some small quantity rares and with a 20-minute drive, you find that even just dipping your one run in can be quite a lucrative way, as long as it's going to succeed. And now that we're close to sort of what we're now on our way to tier 4 and we've got 3 days to go, the likelihood is we will cross tier 4 quite easily, meaning that your reward will potentially go up by another 200,000 credits. So definitely worth doing it. And the top 10 commanders are currently looking to receive 4 million, and if we hit tier 4 that could be 5. And who knows, and the main result is we're going to get our broadcast transmitter on diesel. It's going to happen, and that's awesome.
So obviously, as soon as that goes, do we know when that's going in game? Does that happen as soon as the community goal is achieved? Can we go down and get our selfies taken in front of that, or do we have to wait until the next iteration 2.1 for that to go into game?
I would reckon 2.1. I would also like to sort of speculate and suggest that the higher the tiers that we get this up, so if we get it to tier 8, it'll be 10 times taller than it currently is. So I reckon if we get to tier 8, it will be viewable from Lave.
I want to know, will Frontier be paying a late delivery clause on our transmitter with the delay of 6 weeks?
I don't think so, somehow. It's a nice idea, but no, I don't think so.
My goodness, I just got a trade dividend of 790,000. Who's in my wing that's got a huge cargo hold?
Well, who's in your wing? Yeah. Just to name them.
I know who it's going to be. It's going to be Vlekinth, because I think he was in a Python.
I chose the wrong wing to suit up with. Ben and Jarvis are quite poor.
Flossie was quite nice. You see a nice trade dividend from Flossie there, I think.
Cool. And Heisenberger has delivered 158 tons, and he's in the top 25%. So it gives you some idea of how many tons you have to drop off. I must admit, I've dropped off 113 tons, and again, I'm in the top 25% as well. So it's not big numbers that we need here. 140 tons gets you into the top 10%, says Stephen Usher.
Commander Arkenbaus is here as well, and he sent his salutations. And Commander Ventura is asking if that it's the new meeting place at... No, just for this community goal, Ventura, just for this 1 week. Next week, there's no point doing it unless you just want to continue trading in very, very low quantities but big profits.
Well, actually, no. I mean, next week, Chris is probably going to lead this, but obviously now as a minor faction, if people do want to rock up on a Tuesday night to play along with us as we do the show live, then what we'll be doing is we'll be directing people towards some of the minor faction missions to get the Lave Radio Network up a little bit higher. Obviously, unfortunately, we hadn't quite realised when we were talking about the community goal. By doing this particular community goal, it actually hampers our minor faction influence. Because the money goes towards the current benefactors of Lave Station, which ain't us. So by selling all these crystals to Lave Station, we actually lose influence in the system. But as of next week, we will be back on it. We will be doing some missions in game as we do the show. So if you want to come and join us in Lave and play along and get involved in some of those missions, then you of course are more than welcome.
Two ways to tackle that, actually. Because our percentage is 8% and none of the other factions are particularly near that, running missions will help increase our percentage in its own right, and that will help us get further away from them. And also, at that point, you can start doing just random crimes, interdict whoever the heck you like. Try and leave Lave Radio Network commanders free to carry on their business, but you want to take out people and pirate the arse out the system, because it will undermine workers of Lave liberals, and their percentage will then drop. And what we're looking to try and do at that point is drop them to a similar level to us, to trigger a civil war, at which point we could take Lave Station from them. So that's the key. That is the key. So we want to get ourselves up a little bit by running missions, and you can, if you sell exploration data at Lave, then you will undermine our abilities. You'll be helping the main faction. So you don't want to sell any exploration data at the station. You do want to sell as much as you can at the station. You do want to smuggle into the station as well, because that again will undermine the main faction. And these things in conjunctions, we want to try and get our percentage up further away from these ones at the bottom, which is easy because they're 1%, and we want to get their influence down. And when we get to that point where they meet or they're close, we'll trigger a civil war, and then it's a case of fighting and doing some PvP and some PvE, and winning the war and taking our station. And then we'll be victorious, and then we can let someone else take it back off us.
Right, great.
I'm going to jump in. Oh, go on. Go on, Chris.
Well, I was just going to say, because people have asked us about, with our minor faction, what our kind of affiliation is. Lave Radio Network is an independent faction, because, the way we see it is that the people who listen to this show and the people who come and gather outside Lave Station on a Tuesday night, they're all people that have their own affiliations to, Empire, Federation, Alliance, whatever. And I think, people have been sort of saying, oh, right, so if Lave Radio Network does take control of the system, Lave will flip from Alliance to become an independent system. And I say, absolutely, that'd be great. I think from our point of view, it would be great if Lave was independent, because so many different people do come and listen to the show and hang out in Lave. This isn't an anti-Alliance thing by any stretch. I personally love the Alliance and think it's absolutely great, but it would be really nice to have an independent Lave, as long as the former dictator doesn't come back.
Well, that's the thing. Would Alan have anything to say about that?
I'm sure Alan would have a lot to say about that. When does Alan not have a lot to say about the goings on in the Lave system? Yeah, quite right too. Okay, well, unless you've got anything else more to add, I'm going to close off this particular episode.
I do, as I said. Yep. Right, Grant, you know how you've been interdicted by Commander Jeremy?
Yes.
He's wanting to apologise to you. He is apparently mercilessly interdicting you on the way into Lave Station, and he wants to apologise to you for it.
No apology is required. It's just a bit of fun. At least they didn't blow me out of the sky. At least, the last time we did a community goal, I got all the way to my Orca, and like Fozza, my cargo scoop failed, so I couldn't land because it was an outpost and I was in an Orca. So I couldn't drop cargo because my scoop had failed and my cargo hatch had failed. And some helpful commander decided that he would nudge me and see if he could shake the cargo free. At which point we both blew up. So this time at least I'm still alive, so that's quite good.
And Commander Mad Cow wanted a shout out. I don't know who this cow imposter is. No,
Mad as opposed to Psycho, so it's just a distant family relation to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's my uncle. The one with the dodgy tash.
Cool. Okay, well, that's it for another episode of Lave Radio. If you'd like to get in touch with the show, then you can email info@laveradio.com, Facebook.com/Lave Radio, @Lave Radio on Twitter, and you can join the Discord channel by going to tinyurl.com/Lave Radio, or you can join our TeamSpeak server at laveradio.teamspeak3.com. And of course, we record the show live on a Tuesday evening at 8:30 UK time and stream it out on laveradio.com/live and on twitch.tv/Lave Radio. Thank you very much to Grant, to Colin, to Jarvis, and to Ben for joining us, and especially to all those commanders that have joined us on the convoy this evening. Until next time, fly safe, and if you can't do that, fly dangerous.
Is your life like this?
Sounds like someone having an orange inserted.
Need a safe word.
Space can be done. I'm going to see the galaxy.
Ah, damn it. No worries, guys. Hold the fort for 2 seconds. I'll be right back.